This is going to be the biggest scandal that no one knows about our wedding. It was the moment Nick wants to move to the UK.
What was your wedding like?
The church didn't allow gays to get married.
Did you see a massive wave of your gay friends all getting married at once?
A lot of gay couples.
There was also a bit of fear that they were going to take it away from us. We had a real struggle. I was really, really nervous to kiss Frank in front of everybody.
Why was that?
We grew up hiding so much of who we are.
I almost don't want to be gay because I have to kiss a guy in front of my family. When is the right time to get married, in your opinion?
Did we do it too early?
Hey guys, I'm Nick.
And I'm Ant.
And we're the New Gays.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
And we're the old gays.
And this is Old Gays, New Gays.
This is the podcast where we compare all things gay through the lenses of two generations of LGBT couples.
And today's topic is weddings, gay weddings.
Are we both married?
Gay marriage.
We're both married, right?
Yeah.
No.
Sort of.
We're civil partners.
Civil partner.
Yes,
Not
and we'll talk
married.
about the differences.
Yeah.
But,
Because back then there
should
was no
be
marriage for
interesting.
gays.
Yeah. But before,
Yes.
I have some updates, guys. So, Ant and I were at London Pride this weekend. It was very good, actually. Yeah, and we shouted out the podcast, which is great. Got some free promo. Yeah, which is amazing. And Ant and I created a very, very viral video where we ran up to protesters at Pride and kissed. And so the video did amazing, obviously, because people love the gays.
Yeah.
But this morning, it got pushed to the wrong
To the haters.
And so I just wanted to update and just also reiterate why Pride is so important, because the hate never stops. We are still being, hated on. But yeah, so like this morning we just woke up stressed because we had like almost like 500,000 new views, but it wasn't like our demographic. And so like the comments were from like go to hell to this is horrible, blah, blah. And you know what? It just goes to show why Pride is still so important and why we need to keep advocating for the gays.
Why Old Gays, New Gays exists. Because we are here creating a platform and speaking about the topics that maybe our community wants to hear and no one talks about.
Can I just say that clip was amazing. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And it was the right thing to do. And I think most people got it.
Yeah.
And they supported that. And it was super cute and super great. So
Hey, yeah.
I also think it reminds us that Pride started as a celebration of Stonewall in June, right? And
A riot.
Which was a protest.
A protest, yeah.
Right,
We were the
so-
original protest.
Exactly. So
We're just following in Martha's footsteps.
that's
She
right.
threw a brick. We're going to throw a kiss out there.
Yeah, we're actually so innocent as well. We just kiss. That's what we did.
Yeah.
But anywho, yeah. But I mean, also there were a lot of amazing positive comments. So I think we should focus on that, to be honest.
Hey, look,
Yeah.
and we had a poster. We had it up in the London Times Square, Piccadilly Circus.
Love it.
We had to hold it this time. We didn't quite have the budget to be on the big screen. But
You know,
maybe
we were
in
manifesting
future.
because we were literally standing. Our podium was in front of the big screens in Piccadilly Circus.
That's
So
amazing.
we're almost like manifesting
Yes.
our logo up there.
Osmosis.
One day.
Yeah.
Yes.
We do need to reach out to everyone listening right now and say, if you do want us to be on the big screen in the future, drop the show a follow, press a
Yes.
like, rate it a 5
Rate it
star.
5 stars. Help us get there. Right. So back on the topic, weddings. So I think to start off, I mean, obviously I've got like a lot of interesting questions to ask the older gays mainly, but let's just start off by what was your wedding like, or not so much wedding, but how was your ceremony and what did you guys end up doing in the end? And let's just start with that.
Let me test Dan first. Do you remember the date of the wedding?
Oh.
Here's where they get
End
divorced.
up in divorce. Yeah, I was going to say.
It's 2008.
Oh,
date,
you brought your
the
wedding
day,
book?
The day.
May 17th.
Oh, no
very
divorce
good.
today.
No
You're still
divorce.
safe.
That's right.
Yes, 17th
Can we
of May,
flick through some of the
2008.
images later?
Yes, you can, of
Okay.
course.
Thank you.
So they have their wedding book. It's so cute. So where did you guys? Well, first of all, I'll start off by saying, were you guys married, civil partnered? What was it?
Technically, first of all, you couldn't do either, right? Until 2008.
Okay.
So there was no way for you to actually become a couple legally inside the by government standards, whatever it is. But then when they first started legalizing it, it was all it was all civil partnership. And now the difference between a civil partnership and a marriage is civil partnership is not a religious ceremony, and it's not part of a church. the church didn't allow gays to get married, even though the civil partners were allowed. And it was a big debate here in the UK for quite a long time. An interesting thing happened, though, because they made civil partnership for gays because they couldn't get married in the church. And then there were straight people that started requesting civil partnership because they couldn't do civil partnership. They could only get a marriage. And then there were straight people
We're
who
helping
said,
the straights out as well.
"No, God, gays are always in the lead."
Well, the
We did
straights,
grinder, and then we did civil partnership.
Grindr.
the straights also want straight pride, so they do follow in our footsteps a
Yes,
lot.
they do.
Yeah.
It was a civil partnership that we had because
Okay.
we were very keen to take advantage of legalizing, institutionalizing our marriage to some degree, I guess.
But it's crazy how it wasn't actually that long ago that was legalized, but also marriage. Like, I mean, 2015, I was 15. Like, I was, a teenager. That's not that long ago.
They legalized marriage for gays in the UK a number of years after 2000, because I thought civil partnership was around sort of 2006, 2007,
Okay.
and then they legalized marriages a number of years after that. So when we decided to get married,
Right.
Do you want to hear the craziest story about the UK legalizing gay marriages? Nick and I were randomly on holiday in Mallorca, and we go to our favorite restaurant there. It's called Malvasia. It's in a cute little courtyard.
Yeah.
The woman next to us obviously recognized us as a gay couple, okay? She was like, I can spot a fag from a mile away.
Well, she didn't say that. She didn't say the absolute.
She didn't, sorry.
she didn't even have to do
But
that.
even if she did, it wouldn't matter because
She told us that she was there visiting her daughter or something, and she was the first lesbian couple to get married in Scotland.
Wow.
I think it was 2015.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
and she made the news and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
I'm going to put the news article on screen right now.
Yeah,
I can't
she was
remember-
so
I can't
sweet
remember
as
who
well.
was I can't remember who was the first couple in.
I thought it was 2 women, actually.
It might have been 2. Elton John was very close to being
Yeah.
one of the first to get a civil partnership.
But I thought it was 2 women in this country that first got
Yeah.
legally married.
Yeah.
So it was her.
So
Yeah,
she did
wow.
it. She was the first lesbian. I believe there may have been a gay couple before her.
Okay.
And I remember her telling us that I think she stayed up until midnight. So
Yeah.
it would be like 1 minute
yeah,
past
yeah,
midnight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how she did it. So like the second she did the vows, it was like it struck midnight or something. Yeah.
And yeah, that
Crazy.
was such a crazy coincidence of us crossing paths and having a coffee next to each other.
But when we decided to do this, there was certainly more and more gay couples
Okay.
starting to do that, and I think it sort of prompted us to kind of think about it and all sort of stuff. But back in 2006, 2007, because we're legally allowed to have sort of civil partnerships, then you as a number of sort of gay people sort of wanted to get married, which I think was really good, which is part of the reason why it prompted us to sort of do that. And as well, we wanted to, for me anyway, we wanted to cement and make our relationship recognized by our friends and our family,
Good.
which for me was really, really important. And civil partnership allowed that.
There were emotional reasons, but there were also very practical reasons. You fall into different tax structures as a civil partner married couple than you do as 2 single individuals. You have rights of medical rights. If somebody gets stuck in the hospital and something terrible happens, so all those things come with being civil partnered and married that we were just not able to access unless we did this kind of ceremony. So it was definitely it was a romance move for us. It was an emotional move for us, but there was a real practical reason why we wanted to do it as well, because we wanted to be able to always be the one that chose something for the other person legally if something ever happened in the future.
And you guys couldn't have that.
Correct.
I mean, gays
Yeah.
couldn't have that until 2007.
And look,
8.
I wanted to wear that white wedding dress.
And you did.
Francesca.
That's right.
So now talk about the actual physical wedding, because I've seen the pics, I've seen the location.
Oh, boy.
Talk about, because I feel these gays might want to hear this. We love a gay wedding.
It's extravagant.
Yeah.
We had a real struggle figuring out how heteronormative our wedding was going to be. And we thought, is this just a small gathering of people we love and we're celebrating, or are we going to do a full on what looks like a straight wedding? And we kind of landed somewhere in the middle, I think. But it was a real conversation for us because we were like, do we need that? Do we want to do that? And
Yeah, look, we were excited about the whole thing. So I mean, both of us put a lot of time in sort of planning the wedding, planning the evening, planning the dishes, planning how much plates we were going to have, planning the flowers, which we were really obsessed with, planning the drinks, planning the location. And what we decided to do was sort of have a bit of a sort of black and white theme.
Yeah.
So all the tables were white, the roses were white, which we had ordered from Argentina.
Wow.
And so they had a sort of really
it was
nice
a very gay
white room.
So a gay wedding, okay.
That's right.
And what we did slightly differently than traditional weddings is that we didn't have dancing and all that sort of stuff in the evening. Instead, what we had was like a 9-course meal or whatever it was.
Wine and
pairing, all
cheese
that
With
stuff.
a lot of wine.
With wine
With
pairing.
a lot of wine.
Oh, so very
Wine
gay.
pairing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right.
I think that kind of sounds more. That's just better than like in my eyes than like I don't know.
So stereotypically gay. You care about the aesthetics.
But you know what?
wine
The
you
people
have.
that went were happy. Sorry. Yeah, we're happy though. I bet.
And we had a quartet as well. I think we had
It's amazing. I think one of the interesting things for us though is we started out really thinking, okay, just friends in London, right? It wasn't going to be a wedding. It was just going to be a celebration of our civil partnership. And little bit by little bit, we invited more and more people. And the next thing we know, all of our families are coming. We're flying them over from America, from Canada. I mean, it
Very
turned
sweet.
out to be a massive event.
I think, yeah. So early on, we did decide to bring our parents, and I think it was important, certainly for me and for Dan as well, to sort of have our parents there to be sort of part of the ceremony. And some of the sisters and brothers came, and some of them didn't because it was too expensive and all sort of stuff. But it was important for me to have my parents there, just to sort of
course.
for them to be part of this moment and all sort of stuff, which I think was really, really good. I will say I was a complete mess that day. I was too emotional. It was all kind of sinking into you and all sort of stuff. And it's interesting when you
Commitment does that.
because you
Commitment.
yeah. As you're going through the day and the anticipation of
Yeah.
the actual physical ceremony, you say your vows and all that sort of stuff, it really hits you that there's like, there were 70, 75 people just kind of staring, and you have to sort of have this very private moment that all of a sudden you're sharing with everybody. So that for me was super emotional, but people loved it. You know, they loved feeling that.
And remember, almost everybody in our audience had never been to a gay marriage before, ever,
I bet.
right? So for them, it was very new too. They kind of didn't know what to expect. And I mean, obviously, they were all supporters of ours and friends and family.
Yeah.
But I remember talking to people afterwards, just going, "Wow, this is really beautiful," and you kind of realize how love is just love, and you're celebrating love here, and it's not, there is a familiarity to what we've seen over the hundreds of years of straights getting married. To the structure of it was a little bit similar, but it was a celebration of two men together, and I think I'll say this because I know you said this, but I was really, really nervous to kiss Frank in front of everybody.
Me too,
and
yeah.
I don't know where that came from because this is family and friends, but when we had to stand up in front of everybody and kiss each other, all that fear of homophobia just kind of comes back and hits you in the face.
I had that
Close
too.
to me.
It doesn't matter how much you think your parents support you or your family and friends are there. Everyone there loves you. But the moment they said you may now kiss your husband,
Yeah.
I had an
It's a very
overwhelming
private
sinking of
moment.
like, oh shit.
And there's a meme on TikTok that goes around for the gays, and there's like a sound with it, but like there's this gay meme that gays go, "Oh, like I almost don't want to be gay because I have to kiss a guy in front of my family at my wedding." Like it's like a meme. Like that's how much gays think it that way.
Is that internalized homophobia?
Of course.
No, I think but also it's just like it's
It's the old fear that you're built into you. No public display. No, don't reveal yourself. And and to be honest with you, it probably was the first time that any of our family and friends saw us kiss each other. Right? We just didn't do that, and not because we couldn't. Not because they wouldn't have cared, but we just didn't have public display in front of any of our family and friends. And
Why was that?
we kind of grew up hiding so much of who we are that you don't necessarily feel comfortable. I don't think I'm a PDA person anyways, right? I'm not really into, making out in public.
Unlike
You're
us
not?
at Pride.
That's right. I would have done that though.
You would have?
Yeah, I would have done that.
Yeah, fuck the haters,
Yeah,
right?
just to stick it in their face, yeah.
Yeah, literally, just piss
Not
them off.
because
They're
they
there to
wanna
piss
kiss me.
us off,
That's
right?
right.
No, because ew, gross.
That's right.
Just for the haters. Here you go. Kiss
You wouldn't
me.
do it for your parents at your marriage, but you'll do it for the haters.
Yeah.
Come on.
But you know what?
But what I find interesting, sorry, just really quick,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that you guys are so much younger than us, and you're still feeling that
Yeah.
anxiety that we feel
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
public display. I mean, that hasn't changed, has it?
And our generation on TikTok also, yeah. So we felt the same way. So actually, a lot of our audience don't even know this about us, but that we got married, because for us it was very, very different.
It was behind closed
to
doors.
you
Really.
guys. I'll explain why. So yeah, our audience always get confused. Oh, you guys are married now? Like, that's crazy. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
But so basically, with our wedding, how it was so I had done my 2 years legally in the UK on my visa. Then Ant did his 2 years in Canada. So after that point that we were leaving Canada, we had to make a decision like, okay, so where are we living the rest of our life? Because we don't have legally many other places to go to.
We had the
So we
same
chose the UK. But then what came with that after is we had to get either civil partnership or married so that I could live with Ant. So that was a big
God.
push in why we got married so young and so quickly.
This is going to be the biggest scandal that no one knows about our wedding.
Okay, so can I finish the story? Okay, so yeah, we got that's
Wait, for the immigration department, they really are in love. They are a real couple. They're a real
No, I
couple.
just want my visa.
I can testify.
Okay, no, also, actually, yeah, just to also say, like, before we got married, we'd been together for over 5 years at that point, and now it's 7. So it's been 5 years. We renovated 2 houses at that point together.
Yeah.
We lived in 2 countries, lived through COVID, traveled the world together. So we had lived a lot before we got married. And some straights like meet somebody on that day and get married next year, right? So we did our due diligence as a couple to go, okay, I think we are ready as well, because if we weren't ready, we would have not done that and found another way. But anywho, so ours was like a bit more not rushed, but like I couldn't really plan it that well. So what we did was we had a really small ceremony in this old Roman bath in his hometown of Bournemouth. And
Oh, how
unfortunately,
appropriate, a gay bathhouse.
I know.
Very gay.
I was like a gay bathhouse.
There you go.
Everyone
And
naked.
but it was sad because a lot of our family couldn't come because it was such a last minute ordeal, because we needed to like turn this around in like 2 months. It was like very, very fast. So on my side, only my parents and like sibling came, and then with him it was parents and sibling as well. So even though it was lovely and super intimate, and after that we all had like a beautiful dinner like on the beach, had fresh seafood, it was amazing. But I really do want that big gay wedding, and I'm still craving that.
The celebration side of it.
Yeah, so I think in a couple years when we're,
A bit older.
have more money, we will settle, like we will do our
I
my
think you
fantasy
should.
wedding,
I think you absolutely should. It's
Yeah.
such a nice thing when you actually plan it and you do it and you share that moment with your family and your friends. It is really, really super special. You absolutely owe yourselves to do that. It's
I
fantastic.
think money and financials are a big factor. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you
yeah,
want
yeah.
it to
Yeah, it's
be
never
fun
cheap.
for everyone, and it does come with a lot of cost, and therefore maybe you need to wait until we're a bit older, a few more years under our belt. But here's the biggest scandal of our marriage, and the reason I say that is because
canceled again. Jesus.
That's right.
we have discussed that from the beginning of our relationship, when we first fell in love, all the way up until before we got married, we always want to be married eventually, and we want to have kids, and we've been very communicative on everything we want about our relationship. And then it was the moment Nick wants to move to the UK and we want to be here and live here together. There was no point in our relationship where we were like, we're ever going to survive long distance again.
Yeah.
When we were long distance, that was the hardest part of our relationship, and we overcame that. And from that day forward, we were saying we are never going to be long distance again, because it's just heartbreaking. And then, unfortunately, when I applied for the first visa, which was a spouse, what was it called? A common law visa.
Common law
Yeah,
visa,
yeah,
yeah.
And that basically met all the requirements for a common law visa. And it means you've lived together for 2 consecutive years. You've done this, you've done that, you've done this together. Financials, you've got history together. You spend most of your days together. You're clearly in love. Okay, that's to prove to the government you're clearly in love. I fucked up that visa.
Oh,
So he was like, anyways, like paperwork wasn't done well. So because of that option went out the door, and we got
an immigration
lawyer, and he said, well, the only other way, guys, is to get married. So
I mean, you must have screwed up pretty bad. They didn't let you come back and correct it.
Well, no. Here's the thing.
he said I was a girl.
I screwed up real bad because I had missed out. the terminology of like sponsor.
Can't believe this.
I am the sponsor.
Correct.
He is the sponsoree or
Yes.
something. And I just thought he was the sponsor. He's
Guys,
getting
lesson
sponsored.
is if you're moving countries, get an immigration
lawyer.
lawyer.
Yes. We
Yeah,
did that.
don't do it yourself.
I agree with that.
We actually
did that,
did.
actually.
We actually did the file ourselves, or I did most of it. But we did get a lawyer because that's sort of important. I think it brings you through the.
But you know what? Like, I don't regret. Like, I will never regret
No,
getting married.
no,
And it was
absolutely not.
a beautiful ceremony. My
Yeah.
parents did cry, and it was still so lovely.
Yeah.
But now I just want a big gay wedding.
So, well, let me ask you: do you want a civil partnership or a marriage?
So we got
married.
married.
We
So
got
we
married.
You
like
did get married.
Yeah, we did get married.
in a
So
in a church ceremony.
No, let me finish off this conversation here, okay? So we get an immigration lawyer, and he says, "Guys, you can reapply for that common law, but your chances of being accepted after failing that miserably are very low. But here's another option: you guys can get married." And we were like, "Well, we always wanted to get married anyway.
Yeah.
Why not now? If this means that we can spend the rest of our lives together and not have to be long distance,
Totally.
we're gonna get fucking married.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it."
Good.
So we ended up moving to England and getting married, and it was all this rush thing because we had no intention of getting married that quickly. We just wanted to spend the rest of our lives together, and that meant getting married at that certain point.
Well, you got there in the end, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, our
which is
suits looked
fantastic.
amazing. The
I saw the
location
photos
was
were
gorgeous.
amazing, yes.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we did like a whole beach dinner photo shoot
know.
after. It was amazing. Yeah.
So
Weddings are
we're
exciting.
well overdue for the big party. So all of our friends out there, you are actually invited to this one.
Careful.
All right.
Careful.
Yeah, no.
Remember when
You
we
should
talked
do-
about budget?
You should do your wedding on the podcast.
Oh my God, we have a live session before the vows. All right, guys. So I had a question for the old gays. So when you guys saw it get legally allowed, did you see like a massive wave of your gay friends all getting married at once? Like, how was it? Like when it got legally announced?
Yeah, there's certainly, when it did get legally announced, initially there was a little bit of take up, but then it just took off. A lot of gay couples, committed gay couples would definitely get married because they had the right to do it, because they wanted to share that sort of moment with their family, and it just which was nice to see. It was really absolutely great to see, and that we were one of the couples that initially back in 2008 we decided to do our
there was
civil
also
partnership.
there was also a bit of fear that they were going to take it away from us.
Oh,
So
wow.
people rushed.
Yeah.
Right, because I thought, God, this could just be the one party that's in government right now, and it could be reversed again. We really, you felt that it was a palpable fear in the gay community. It's like everybody was rushing, going, okay, if you're going to do this, you have to do it now. Let's get it done. Let's get the paperwork. And then there was also, like, we had one friend that initially didn't want to do it because he was worried about the old world, thinking, okay, that's just a paper trail to trace down gays if anything ever changes in the world again.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And that fear kind of took two sides, I think, in the gay community. And there's some people that just didn't want to get married, right?
Okay.
But it was really important to us to make sure we could do it while it was still legal, even though it stayed legal, which is excellent.
Yeah.
But two, like I said, I think the big thing for us was, when you come through the AIDS crisis, one of the big, most traumatic things that happened in the industry in that time was that couples oftentimes got cut off from each other when one went into the hospital, and because they had no rights as a partner. They couldn't even sometimes visit that person because they were in intensive care if their immediate families didn't let them in. And so we came into this thinking, okay, wow, we can get legally married now. We have legal rights to decide what's going to happen to the other person if there's a medical emergency, And that was that kind of background that we took into that, I think, for the gay community was a big reason why we latched on to that opportunity to kind of become legal, because we saw the downside of that, right? We saw what happens when you're not a legal couple and how you can really be traumatized through,
I had no idea about that side of it. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the 80s.
we just don't think of that.
No.
Yeah.
It just provides I mean, it's good that it recognizes relationships,
yeah.
but it also does provide you a legal safety net.
Well, so even like before it was legal, like let's say you guys both had a house together. How did that work?
Well, it's a dual mortgage, but okay, so here's a good example of that. In the UK, if you're married, you can both own a house, and you can transfer money back and forth between yourselves. And I don't want to get too technical on this, but in other countries, if you're not married, if you try to move money between yourselves, it's called a gift, and there could be tax implications of that. And so, and that's just one small, tiny little thing that married couples had a benefit to that we couldn't access.
Okay.
Whether you wanted it or not, it's one thing, but gays just couldn't ever even access structures in the legal system like that made it easier to be a couple. And it opened that door immediately for us because civil partnership wasn't a halfway house. The UK was brilliant. It was a full-on same rights, 100% across all legal rights that straight couples had, and it was a brilliant. And we were really proud to be in this country when that happened because it was one of the first countries to do it. And I think hurrah to being we were really proud to be British citizens at that point because of that.
I mean, the U.S. I felt was just like recently.
And I hope
it's still not even federal.
You can't
It's
get
state by
married
state.
in the,
Oh,
it's a
really?
state
Yes.
law. It's not,
And they're
it's not a
revoking
federal
it.
law.
It's still not, and now with all the backward stuff going on there, you never know what's going to.
No, this is a
Wow.
good country for gays.
Yes.
Yeah, England,
Brits are
yeah, the
fantastic.
UK,
It's a shame that the US, as such a big country, is going backwards, and other countries are going to follow in those footsteps. And I just really hope that with the work of this podcast and everything else, but in the community, that we're going to have some progression. And I really hope that there's countries out there that it is not illegal, that move forward and it does become legal, because there's so many listeners out there that can't get married right now, and we have to just give hope to them, and it is such a shame that they can't get married.
So am I right by saying, like, let's just say they're in that situation, can they go to a country where it's legal and get married there?
They could if they're citizens. If one of them is a citizen of the country, they could.
Okay.
But if you're not citizen, I don't think they're going to entertain a legal marriage in a country that you're not.
They have to.
Non-resident
If you're
from that country.
there's a whole different set of rules if an American marries a foreigner, even for straight people. It's very complicated.
Right, okay.
Because all American immigration stuff is complicated. There is some level of recognition, and I think Americans, U.S. citizens now have some immigration rights for their gay partners as well. I'm not a technical expert on this. It's still not as good as here.
But in Europe though, as a European passport holder, which I am, or at the time I was, through my parents had my Italian passport, then as a European citizen, it gives you certain rights. So it gave me the right to be here with my partner in the UK legally.
Right.
Because
Gotcha.
I was a European citizen. It gave me the right to do a civil partnership, even though he wasn't a Brit, because under EU law, you can bring your partner with. So as a European citizen within the European community at the time, now we're not part of the European Union, I don't know what it's like, but you had certain rights, which made it easy for us. And this was a good home for us versus North America, certainly the US. It's just impossible. It's just
Dan.
not recognized.
Hey, I'm here.
Yeah, you're
There's a
British now
reason.
anyways. Yeah.
There's a reason.
Just a
Just
quick
work
one.
on your accent.
says the Canadian.
No, we're fine. It's just you.
Our accents are very different.
You sound British, despite
That's
being
right.
Canadian
You
Italian.
sound more British, actually.
But just a disclaimer out there, like in previous episodes, we do not give legal advice, and we do not give immigration advice as well.
That's right. Always hire a lawyer.
Clearly, yeah.
Or financial advice at that.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun to answer a question before we go. So I guess this question a lot, even our friends that have been in long-term relationships, when do you guys think, and we'll answer as well, is the right time to get married? Not even in gay couples, just in straight, whatever couples, when is the right time to get married, in your opinion?
Did we do it too early?
Oh, well.
I don't. It's interesting. There's no. So legally, you have to be of an age to get married.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't think there's a specific time, 18, 22, 35, 49, 50, 67. I don't think there is a time. I think for me what's important is the reason why you're doing it. The reason why you're getting married is the important reason. I think you need to do it in a relationship that is a long-term relationship, that you feel committed to yourselves, that you love each other, that you're there for each other, all that sort of stuff. And when you have that, I think for me, marriage is a celebration of sharing that with your family and friends. Once you have that, that's the time to do it. Be it when you're 20, when you're 30, when you're 40, when you're 50, whatever. Would be what I say to that.
That's
Just when you're in love and you feel it's the right time.
Exactly.
And it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
And I feel like straight couples, that generations ago used to get married at like 20, 21. That was the normal thing back then. Like back in the Victorian times, they used to get married super young.
Well, they're also getting married to
well,
16-year-olds.
that was slightly
Well, they also died at 30.
Yeah, as well. Yeah.
Fair enough. It's all relative.
Because I'm asking because that's like the one comment that me and I get a lot is like, you guys got married way too young. Watch them divorce, especially by other gay people. Like that's like they're the ones saying it. Like, oh yeah, that's not gonna last. Like they're the most judgmental ones, and I don't know why that is.
The gays are
maybe
super
it's
judgmental.
internalized. Like I don't know. Maybe they don't like seeing couples. I don't know.
Well, look, we just don't have a history of gay couples being together that long in marriages, right? We just haven't seen old gay couples that are married yet, and
new gay couples.
New couples. I will say this to you guys, though: we know more than one couple that got married in their 20s and they're still happily together today in their 50s and 60s. It's possible. Don't listen to the naysayers.
And let us live in their footsteps.
Yeah.
So fuck you if you've ever said that. Just kidding. I love you too.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing.
That's the end of today's episode. A big fuck you to everyone.
No, honestly, but also we get a lot of support on our weddings, so it was just say like we do get comments about it.
Yeah, we do.
And it was just funny how a lot of the time it is other gay people saying it, not even straights. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're still waiting for our linen invitation with Nubetica font.
Yes.
I'll
I check in
hire
the post every day.
I'll hire you guys for the wine pairing. You
Yeah,
guys,
yeah,
you
all
guys
right.
know that really
Okay.
well. Okay,
And the
perfect.
flower selection.
But yeah, from your garden.
That's
Yeah.
right.
If it's okay with you, if you have digital photos, because I know it was way back then when you guys got married. The older
Way
gays.
back.
I'm
You were
kidding. I'm
alive.
kidding.
Well, I will say this: we did get our photos on a CD. Do you know what that is?
It is
like the
digital.
cassette thing.
Yeah.
The cassette.
No, but if we have digital versions, we can put them on screen for the people that are
definitely.
listening on YouTube. And if you're listening to
that'd
this
be
episode
nice.
when it just came out, the YouTube version's always out a little bit later on in the day at 5 p.m. British Standard Time. So work out when that is if you're in a
Yeah,
different
we'll
country.
add some pictures to the podcast. It'll be
that'd be
cute.
nice.
That'd be really cute. Guys, that was the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed today's episode and want more of these, subscribe to the show, give it a 5-star, click a like, comment down below, do whatever you got to do to support the show and keep the gays thriving.
Rate of 5 stars for gay weddings.
There
Gay
you
marriage.
go. And maybe you'll get invited.
Yeah, maybe you'll get, I'm gonna pick one person that rates it a 5-star.
That's right.
All right. That,
All right,
we're
that's
not.
amazing.
We're
All
not
right.
going to pick anyone to come to the wedding.
Maybe rate just in
All right.
case.
I want to be honest.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.